When it comes to handguns, there's a ton of options on the market, especially when you look at Glocks and Glock clones. Today, we're gonna be looking at a gun that falls right into that list. We'll talk a little bit about it, some pros, some cons, what we like, what we don't like, etc. But before we do that, my name's Dustin with We The People Holsters, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing this Anderson Kiger 9C. Now, this is a brand new pistol from Anderson. We'll dive into that here in just a little bit, but before we do that, of course, if you guys need a holster for your handgun, WeThePeopleHolsters.com. We've got KYDEX holsters for pretty much everything under the sun, and if we don't have it, we're probably getting it shortly. We've also got some awesome apparel printed from dirt to shirt right here in the USA, which makes it probably the most American t-shirt that you can buy. It's not just printed here in the USA. We're talking grown, sewn, dyed, shipped to your door, all in the United States. It's basically an American citizen. It could vote. Let's be real. So if you guys want to check that out, link down in the description, WeThePeopleHolsters.com. Now, this is an Anderson Kiger 9C. Before we get into the actual gun itself, we're gonna clear it. That's empty, mag's empty, of course. Just make sure that guy is empty. All right, perfect. So this is Anderson's flagship pistol. It's gonna be a Glock 19 clone, right? I'm sure you guys have probably seen that. There's a bunch of Glock 19 clones popping up all over the place, but this one is particularly cool for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's gonna have a steel upper, right? Stainless steel upper, 416 stainless, machined by Anderson, sitting on a polymer lower like every Glock 19 clone does. Now, this one has an O-Light on it. Folks over at O-Light sent us a Valkyrie turbo. Thing is super bright, but we'll talk about that on another video. I love this handgun. I'm just gonna throw that out there, right? Let's talk specs. So in terms of overall length, this one's gonna come in at 7.35 inches from front to tail. It's gonna weigh 1.8 pounds with the 15+1 mag loaded tight. The mag probably looks familiar to you, and if it does, it should. It's a PMag 15 round standard Glock 19 style mag, right? Looks super good, sits in there really, really well. Probably one of the best things about this pistol is that this one's gonna come in at under $500. Last time I checked, you could buy one of these right from Anderson for about 430 bucks, making them one of the most budget-minded pistols that you can buy right now. In terms of the frame, it's gonna feature this nice aggressive stippling here. No finger grooves like the G19 Gen 3s had. It's got a really high undercut, so that way when you get your hands on it here, right? Fingers sit up there nice and tight. Of course, there's a little bit of an undercut up here as well. Big old trigger guard. I mean, the gun just functions fantastically. Speaking of triggers, in terms of trigger, you've got a nice little take up here, right? Hit a nice wall. It is a little longer travel than I would like to see, but you do hit a nice wall. There's a nice crisp, clean break. And then of course the reset. Oh, let me drop the mag, we'll do that again. So there's the wall, nice clean break. Reset, of course. Super short, really crisp, tactile and audible, right? Feels really good. And then again, right back through it. So really just a super awesome gun in general. So when it comes to Anderson, some of you guys may have heard of them, some of you maybe haven't. For the most part, they've kind of stuck to the AR-15 market. They really have produced that entry-level stripped AR lower for really as long as I can remember. That's always kind of been the first go-to for pretty much everyone who wants to build an AR. They go out and pick up an Anderson stripped lower for now about 75 bucks, but back when I first started building ARs, it was more like $35. And they'd put a rifle together, and they just do really well. They're 100% made in the USA, of course, made down there in Kentucky. I actually got the chance to talk to some of the guys down there. Really awesome dudes, family-owned company, and really just are one of those good old-fashioned bang for your buck US companies, which makes them really, really awesome. So we're not just gonna talk about this thing. We did have an opportunity to shoot it as well out at the gun range. Really, really enjoyed it. It's a pretty soft shooting gun. It handles really well. It's a pretty standard Glock 19 clone, which is really cool because it takes all the aftermarket Glock 19 accessories. So we're talking things like slide release, mag release, trigger, stuff like that. Anything that fits a Gen 3 Glock 19 will fit this frame, will fit this gun. And so it really makes this probably one of the most effective guns for the money if you were looking to build or buy something. So for example, I actually have a very similar frame to this gun that's all decked out. It's got extended slide release, extended mag release, like a 3.5 pound trigger in it. Parts are dirt cheap for it. Install is super easy. It's a Gen 3 Glock 19. Couple of tools, basic hand tools, a Glock punch and a needle nose pliers and some other stuff. You can pretty much strip this thing down, put it all back together again Really, really simple stuff. The only thing that I maybe am not such a big fan of on this gun is that it is not optics ready. So of course it does have the front and rear post. The rear is adjustable, the front is not. So it handles okay. However, I'd really like to see this thing drilled for some sort of red dot optic, but that's probably because I'm a millennial and I just like red dots on my pistols. I think they go really well. But other than that, it's fit and finished really, really, really well. The gun handles good, of course. It's got that pick rail in the front to mount the flashlight on, and just a super solid performing little gun here. But that's enough out of me. What do you guys think? Would you buy an Anderson Kiger 9C? Yes or no? Drop a comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so that way you guys can keep up with all the awesome We the People Holsters content that we got coming for you. With that, my name's Dustin with We the People Holsters. We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay free, friends.